So where is the ball python market heading towards? What we have observed over the last year is that people and breeders are still buying animals, but they are more precise in what they are buying. People and breeders are avoiding certain genes which doesn't work as well in their collections. So for instance, if there's a certain gene that doesn't work well in the projects, they'll rather opt for an animal without those genes. Another thing that we've seen is that all the morphs like hypo and paint and even exantic is making a huge comeback, and people are starting to pursue those routes, as it is also something that hasn't been done a lot. So a lot of new projects has been coming out. Paints are very awesome and produce some nice animals, and even with hypo is slowly but surely making a huge comeback, and you can see that people are incorporating that more into their collections. In terms of pricing has somewhat stabilized. The major price decreases that we saw in the start of, or actually the end of 2023, isn't as rapid. The prices abroad has more or less stabilized and found a good intermediate, or a good pricing between where it was and not at the lowest point. So I'd say the pricing is quite stable now, and we haven't seen major price decreases in the last couple of months. So in terms of the number of animals we've sold in this past year compared to last year and actually the 2022 year has been actually very similar. So all of these 3 seasons we produced more or less the same number of animals, and we kept back more or less the same number of animals every season. So it means the amount of animals we advertised over the last 3 years has been quite constant. And so far this year, we've sold actually more or less the same amount of snakes, even maybe a bit more for this time of this year. So our prediction for the future is, this is not the first time that we've seen major price decreases or major price drops in the ball pythons. Like with any product, the ball pythons go through a product life cycle where it slowly reaches its peak of the market, it slowly declines, and yet again the cycle continues. So our prediction is for the end of 2025 or the start of 2026, we're going to see a major peak again in demand, and of course into the ball python hobby itself. New people coming in, new interest, new combos being produced, and also a new spur of interest. So just to make a practical example, back in 2018 and 2019, we had similar cases or similar pricing as what we've got now. In my opinion, in some cases even worse. I always use the example that pieds were selling for around $100, and actually now pieds are selling for, I'd say, between $150 and $200. So taking in consideration the price has actually increased from 2019, and actually in the peak of the market in 2022 and 2023, you could have actually maybe got even a bit more for the pieds. So what I would say is be patient and look at the market, be very precise in what you are buying. Don't panic sell. It doesn't help to sell the collection. At the end of the day is you need to work on the projects which you like and which you are passionate about. If you're going to breed for the sake of the market, you're going to reach a dead end. And of course, like I said, don't panic sell, because at the end of the day, you might regret it. Here at Reptiles for Centuries, we are still investing a lot of time and energy into our animals, creating new fundamental projects for the near future. And also we are changing some of the ways of how we keep the animals, and possibly how we're going to keep the animals in the near future. It might mean that we're going to change up the housing of the animals, maybe going to a more naturalistic setup and more of a cage setup, and moving away from the racking systems. At the end of the day, it's an ongoing innovation and an ongoing process to actually give yourself and the animals the best chance and the best environment for the animals at the end of the day. So getting back to it, don't worry too much about the market. Focus on your animals, make sure you care and everything is right with the animals, and the next will follow. So be patient and enjoy the snakes.